a nice comfortable position. And I'm just going to tell you how to do it first of all, and then you can do it in your own time. So first of all, just put your left hand over your heart and your right hand on top of your left hand. And it starts off with a normal out breath, followed by a normal through the mouth, a normal in breath through the nose, and then a full and complete out breath through the mouth. So in your own time, just do it now. And as you do it, just feel into your body. And just come back into the group field. So what we've done is we've just balanced out our systems. That's the reset breath and the quiet touch. Turned off the chatter of the brain. Brought the heart, the brain, and the gut into alignment. And now we're in balance. We're in a much better position to bring a group field together. So just relax. Anyone got any feedback on that first before we move on? Okay, Josh, over to you then.
I'll go. Yeah, I definitely feel more relaxed.
That's a good one. It's got so much science behind it as well, and it's so quick, so powerful. It's a great way to kick off a meditation as well.
Great. Anyone else?
Yeah, sure. I think it's a good exercise to do before anything, not just meditation or a group meeting. Oh, sorry, instruction off in the background. But yeah, that dropping in and getting present's really great. So thank you for starting off with this.
Pleasure.
Yeah, I think it definitely helps you focus on what you're going to do next. Absolutely.
Great. And I do think it's worthwhile just spending a few moments at the start of any meeting, just getting our own selves centered and getting the group field sorted out.
All right. Welcome, Tiana. All right. So let's jump into it. And what I'm going to do today is today's the last level 1 open invite meeting. After this, I'm going to share a screen with you really quick. I don't think I need that open. After this, we will be working on the what's called the co-created future outline. When you get to level 2, if you're in level 1, if you're still in level, to get to level 2, it takes being in line with the organizational agreement fields so that we're saying that we're going to work together in the same way. And it's the how. It is like, this is like what we're doing. And then it's very important that we're aligned on how we're doing it. So it's kind of like, if you can't make decisions together, everything's going to fail, right? So we need to know how we're making decisions together, how we're forming teams, how we're splitting, how, you know, we need to know all that. Otherwise, people are going to think, they're going to take what they know from the old world, from their life, from how normal companies work, and they're going to try to apply that. And they're going to try to use domination culture and try to dominate one another and throw things off balance. And they're going to come in with finances and try to do that too later on when they get clear. So we've got a very clear container, from any of those old energy systems that patterning and entering. On the level 1 calls, if people have not gone through the organizational agreements yet, we'll still be offering weekly calls. It will be training on culture code, which is actually the core of how we work together. So we'll be offering onboarding training and just basic training. So we'll have at least 1 call a week for training, if not 2, for level 1. And then at any point, someone can jump into level 2 if they're in alignment. And if they have any questions, this is what we call the infinite game. So this is where we get to play with the boundaries. And so if anyone has any questions on the organizational agreement field boundaries, and you know, definitely now's the time to say something. But as we go through it, we get to co-create almost all of it. And so if anyone has any questions in the beginning, they're welcome to ask, get clarity, provide other options. You know, it's all welcome. Okay, so what we've done is we've gone through the governance, we've gone through everything, and we're in the end of the training. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to finish the training part, which the education and training. I'm going to call it orientation. I think it's a better word. And we can change that later if we need, but I've had a lot of complaints about training. I don't know why. I think, and so we'll finish this, and then we're going to look at this roles document. There's some roles that need to be filled, and then there's actually each section of this is something that anyone can sign up to and say, yes, I would like to be, we're going to start with 3, and if we're able to handle 3, then we can add on another one. 3 max. And you can only do 1 if you want. You do just 1 if you want. Okay, so let's look at where we're at. We have started in the education, and why is there not, hold on a second. I'm actually a little bit hold on a second. I want to see something. Shoot. Okay, I'll do it later. Don't worry about it. I think we're working towards, let's start with where we left off. So this is the education orientation. This is what we have. We've already gone through that. What we want is creating standard words. This is for the collective. Anything else that goes along with this. We brought up in the last call, we want a place for healing, domination, culture, force, self-respect. We want to be able to heal. We want coaches to be able to talk to. Onboarding to declaration. We want onboard newcomers. We want the process refinement so the experience is awesome. Is there anything else that you guys can think of that we might want to have? And I put in the intention up here, this outline for process. So I'm actually gonna put, we already put healing in there, but I'm gonna put it again down here because we have, It says that's what we have. Okay, so we already have that. We don't need to say that we want it, sorry. Because they put healing, but we already have that. But it's okay. It's there twice. It's not a big deal. What we're working towards. Interpersonal. So this is where we get separate. We're working towards an interpersonal process that leads people from healing to energetically being aligned with new paradigm energies and able to step into full high-speed infinite game scenarios, okay? I also call that a coherency and coherency orientation. And then this one's competency orientation. And that's onboarding to the declaration so that they're being competent for what they're doing. A solid, this one's competency. Course for onboarding, including, they both overlap. Coherency and cohesion, especially with the onboarding courses. Fundraising, sales and marketing program. So that means that we have coherency, especially with our fundraising, our sales and marketing program, so that we're not saying different things in different places. The course also is designed, do you have a question, Joe? Okay. Course is also designed to have everyone on teams step in with competency. This means that we're take the time to gain competency before taking on any task, especially when we're working together on teams. Okay, so the next steps, interpersonal, next steps. I'm gonna say what I think, you know, the order for interpersonal that we have up here, guys, and let's just co-create this. Is healing before they do anything. We said they want to be healed and to be able to avoid abuse and have tools to avoid abuse. Does everyone agree with that? Is there anything anybody wants to add to that? Okay. Huh? No? What does anyone else think that would come after healing?
I would probably say that once they've been healed, they're more there with the group, and at that point there's an orientation to moving into the next steps and future growth for them as individuals and as part of the group.
So this is our next steps. So that's over here. That's on onboarding.
It's onboarding, okay.
So that would be the first onboarding, correct? Orientation?
I would think so, yeah.
I think, and this is co-creative, guys. So if anybody has any other ideas, let's just throw them out there. And we can even have two separate set of steps. Like, to be honest with you, we could have, and we could take them separate. It doesn't really matter. Everyone gets to choose whatever they're taking on. If they have two things that are conflicting, we get to just make it modular. Okay, orientation process. That, what does it do?
It defines how we work and what our intention is.
So we already have a universal intention. So this would be an intention for each specific scenario. All right.
Well, it's onboarding for the declaration. So
yeah.
yeah.
Is there anything else? What is this? This is all under education. So we can add in a whole nother category if you want for education. But we have interpersonal, and then we have onboarding to this.
So, all right, just skip back to the interpersonal for a second then, Josh. Shame Brett's not here because I'd like to hear about that and know what those tools are. I may have a couple to help, which is based on the Dispenza meditations on quantum manifestation, undoing, bringing habits to consciousness, remote healing, things like that. Very, very short, very powerful. It's really a combination of Greg Braden's work and Dispenza's work and various others.
So how about we set up our shared platform for education. And we just need to be really specific with it because it can turn into a university, and it could be just crazy. And we want it where everyone's really able to, like, we want to have the difference between suggested and, let's call it, I mean, mandatory is going to be decided upon by, I would say, each group, a team. Like if I'm on a team with someone, on a core team, and I'm talking to them every day, before we start working together, we're going to decide our culture code, we're going to decide our master plan, and if part of that decision might be like, hey, where are you guys at on a energetic level? Have you gone through this training? And have you have tools to help yourself heal? Do you have tools? Have you found your purpose? You know, are you here for a reason, or are you just here randomly?
So, sorry, Josh, I'm just getting a bit lost with the process here on the education side. What are we supposed to be sort of covering?
This is creating basically a portal to the new paradigm. So if we envision a stepping out of this world into a scenario, let's call it a village or even a city. It really doesn't matter where it is. And it's the, you know, it's this co-created future that we all want to be a part of, which is some of the stuff we went over with you, Mike, on that one call. Although I think everyone here has their own version of what that looks like, and they're aligned with the universal intention already. So they're already aligned, and they have a pretty good idea of what that looks like for them.
Cool. In that case, Josh, you know, I'm just thinking about, well, what we've just done, which is the reset, breath, quiet, touch, establishing the personal and the group field. I think that's really, you know, the way I'd start everything, really, because it's so quick and easy.
Yeah, let's do that number one then. I think I agree. So the next steps on training is call process. It's also called culture code. How to start calls. So tools, not how to. Tools for starting calls. Calls, onboarding would be call structure. Let's do that. Orientation. Actually, that would be a part of orientation, wouldn't it? Call structure. That's one of the first things. Interpersonal, call process, culture code. Tools for starting calls. The interpersonal part is maintaining the balance of the call, maintaining energy and balance.
Alignment process might be a good language.
Alignment, balance. We could say alignment. Yeah, alignment. Process. Yeah. Alignment. I'm going to put alignment / context because they're very similar. Alignment, context, and intent all kind of go together. I would say context covers alignment and intent. And agreements, actually, but we've already done that, so we don't need that. Call process, culture code, tools for starting calls, maintaining energy and balance, alignment, intention, context process, which has already been started. We just need to train and get it clear. And these are tools that people can use for all these things. Anything else? I think, oh, ending, let's just say ending calls. Ending calls and harvesting. No, harvesting is not interpersonal. Ending calls. Hate to have them separate, but they're both about calls. Call structure. Let's actually run that onto the number 1 here then, because there's a whole lot to that. Call structure. So for the onboarding, the call structure looks like email, send out, and prep for calls, so that we're getting, let's say context. The call structure. What do they call it? Facilitation, call facilitation, and roles. And these are all just an experiment. So remember, so this is all tools for doing these things. There's no specific process. We all get to decide it, put it out there like Burning Man, and see who shows up. Okay, call structure. Email, send out, and prep for calls. Call facilitation and roles. So email, send out, prep, call facilitation, and then I'll just say call structure. And this is actually covered. I've got a lot of that started. I want to show it to you guys because I like to show you where the information is. So in the level 2, when you go to the community folder, it's actually, there's a protocol for calls. So there's already a whole sheet on this. Pre-call, email, what you put on the emails, following emails. The first one you want to put, what inspired it. The second, after that, you're probably pretty good. Little different processes. Different types of Zoom: introduction call, informative, proposal, decision-making, brainstorming. And so each one might have a different process. These are suggested. These are things that you get to create on your own for your specific call. And then we can add in options, and these can just be options that we can choose from. Or if there's a specific process, we can have like link to a specific process that needs to be like that. So access agreements I'm seeing already is a big deal. Right now, I've been taking that on, but pretty soon it's going to get big. So I'm going to add that to the roles as access agreements. And that's a team. You need a team for that, small team. Onboarding, that's a team. And then calls is going to be me and someone for now. So I guess it's a team. We can call them teams or circles. What do you guys, they're interchangeable. Holacracy calls them circles. So in our actual constitution, it's called circle. But they're interchangeable.
I think consistency is really important, Josh. Otherwise, people are liable to get, very, very confused. My feeling is that, we should keep things as simple and as consistent as we possibly can. And the other thing about the conscious co-creation tools is if people want and feel a need as a group to change things, then they're encouraged actually to do that. But I would start off with a stable point so that they know exactly what they're getting into, which is it's us as a circle who are making the decisions. There are different ways of operating the circle, and one is based on deep listening and understanding. One is based on fast and effective discussion and decision making, and let them get on with it. Basically, my feeling is that if we try and give them too much and then say, oh, by the way, you don't need to do it, then it's just all getting quite messy for people potentially.
Totally. Yeah. Step at a time. We have to be on the same page, or else it's I'm running with the ball and I leave everyone behind. Or you run with the ball, or whatever. Someone runs with the ball. So we have to prevent that. We have to move together as a tribe. And that's the first thing I learned from the natives in creating a modern tribal culture.
So Josh, in terms of onboarding, what I'd suggest is, the World Summit have quite a good sort of process for this. What they do is they put the key documents in front of the prospective candidate, if you like, or whoever is going to be joining the organization. And then they arrange, they have someone who deals with them and handholds them through the onboarding process and goes, hey, have you been through the documents? Have you got any questions? Can I give you, can I sort of help to orientate you? And that seems to be quite a really effective first step, because the starting off with the documents means that everyone is always starting off with the same thing. And having someone going through that then means that, whoever the individual is, they've got the chance to have all of their questions answered before they actually move in.
So you're saying, I'm going to put a suggested on the onboarding. Suggested that Robert, someone from World Summit, I'm going to go over there tonight at 3. So I'll be there in an hour and a half with those guys.
Cool.
So maybe I'll ask them, but I'm going to put in here World Summit has a good process. Good enough. And then we'll see if we can get one of those guys to help fill it out.
Yeah, and I tend to flesh it out as well, Josh, because otherwise it's a bit, what does that mean? So I think what it means is, start off with the documents that everyone should, really have to look at before they join, and then have someone to answer their questions, and that in its simplest form is how that process works.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to, yes, and I just want to kind of modify how you said that, because you said that the documents that they have to look at. So just to clarify, it's all choice. And so you say, are you in alignment with this? If so, we're on a team. So all that happens before you join on a team, or you just don't join on the team with those people and you join with someone else. And so the same with the organizational agreements. If you want access to all those documents, then you would, if you're in alignment, you have access. If you're in alignment with something else, then you would have it would be a different access. Anyhow, I just wanted to clarify that, because it was like, I just want to make sure that it wasn't, but we're good. Okay, so interpersonal. The call process. We have the culture code. Tools for starting calls, maintaining energy and balance, alignment, intention, context, process, and ending calls. I think that's complete. Then we have a course created to help people heal and have tools to help them avoid future abuse. A shared platform for education. Okay, some of that's open. That would probably all be open source, I would think. I hate to inundate people on level 1, but maybe we could just put a link to something else that's maybe outside of the documents altogether. That's like a suggested education area, or a Google Classroom or something. because that can get so big. So I would like to suggest open source suggested level 1. I'm going to say badges. What that means is you get a badge, like basically you say, yeah, I've done that. And so when you go on a team and they say, hey, have you looked at these things? You say, yeah. In the future, we might have a system. There's something that I developed with a guy named Adam Krim called, he started it out being called My Personal Vision, but we changed it to Project Synergy. Stephen Jenner worked on this with me a little bit. And so the badges signify, it's a process of mentors, which is sort of, I think, what you were saying with the World Summit, and being able to, so in the future, not now, people can have, we can have an app and people can do tests and have badges and stuff in the future. But we can still put it on there. For now, we can just go with trust. We say, have you done it? And they'll say yes, and we can test them ourselves. If we can talk about it as a group, have like a, you know, like a book club type of thing. Okay. Program course for finding purpose. Let's see what we have up here. So after they've basically, they know how to heal themselves. They know how to avoid abuse. So they at least aren't in a broken state. Okay, they're at least not going to be in a broken state, and they know how to avoid broken states. And I actually want to put in there a course created, Healing Open Abuse, relationship, environment. Okay, actually that's going to go in the next one. Program for finding purpose, aligning, okay, so setting time aside and organizing your life. So basically, they've got their purpose, and now what? Well, let's give them at least some tools on how to like set time aside, because maybe they have their purpose, but maybe they're working too much. Maybe they're stuck and they don't know how to get out of it. So we can help plan that with them, how to transition, how to set time aside, and what to do with that time. So that they can, in their own life right now, start to move in the right direction. Orientate and go, oh, I'm actually heading over here. To do that, I need to set time aside and blah, 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 whatever. And so they've found their purpose. They also need to align their environment and align environment to their purpose and relationships. And then, can you think of anything else on this level? There's 4 levels. There's healing, avoiding abuse, finding your purpose, getting ready to move forward, getting all that settled. Now you're ready to move forward. We have the next one as learning how to co-create. So, and then the next one is empowerment, tools and resources and all that stuff. The Declaration of Agreement is designed with co-creation in it. So it's kind of nice like that. It brings people into a place of empowerment on teams and lets them share resources and get moving. And it sort of supports us co-creating in the same time, but it would be nice to have a course on co-creation so that they know the interpersonal part of that, not just the structural part that makes them do it, but, you know. So the next one is 5, and it's co-creation. Tools. This is interpersonal still. Does anyone have anything else up to this point?
Josh, what do you mean by interpersonal? Do you mean individual or?
So there's like in energy inside of us, and then there's actually the next one is like competency, like learning the system, the program, like mental.
So is this done on an individual basis or a group basis, or that's what I'm trying to get at?
This would be done on a group basis. This would be something that when we create our permanent World Summit headquarters combined with a coherency and competency orientation program that is able to birth villages and birth what we're doing. This is the process for the coherence and competency. The interpersonal is what we want to create as this specific process for the coherency, and then well, it's all going to be one thing by that time, and we're just separating them on here just because they're two different things. They're two different jobs for us to create. They're different.
Okay. So under this heading, interpersonal, is this going to be what an individual does or what a small group does?
It's holonic, so it goes from individual to the group to the world. So it's all sort of the same thing. It always starts here, goes, right now, this is, as you see, it starts with individual, starts with healing, and then it moves stays an individual level when it comes to orientating your time, and then it moves to the group level for co-creation, and then it moves to the world level when it comes to sharing tools, resources, teams, organizations, consortiums, whatever.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is that, how I would probably suggest doing that would be to let people have a look at a video on the co-creation tools first, and then as a group actually do an energy circle, actually do a listening circle, and actually do an action learning or reflective circle, so that they've not just seen it or heard about it or read about it kind of thing. They've also done a bit of it, and they then start to feel, that's how it works. So it gives them a personal, experiential taste of what it's about as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, that specific thing is the document you made is called Co-Creation Tools, the handbook.
Co-Creation Tools, that's right, yes.
That's what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's change this a little bit because it's a couple things. Tools for co-creation, including co-creation handbook tools. Handbook, is that what it's called?
Co-creation tools, yeah.
Co-creation tools
Document.
handbook, or just tools?
Document.
Tools for co-creation. Co-creation tools document.
There could be a video. I'd be glad to do a video if you want, Josh.
Video explanations of co-creation tools document and video with a maybe S.
I think just one, Josh, probably.
Okay. And then to co-create, they're going to also want, this is a culture code design course. That's a lot of it. That's that. And then there's still, what about co-creating in your everyday life? Like, besides when you're on a team, a working team. I mean, that's a piece of this.
Well, I think the thing is, if you're co-creating, then the thing that you need is to have no hidden tripping points, and that means your team agreements need to be agreed, your intention needs to be agreed, and the structure, which is, are we all making the decisions or not, kind of thing. So all of that is really covered in the co-creation tools, and my feeling is that that makes it very practical to use in just about any day-to-day situation, really.
Great. And I added in the Infinite Game platform, because if they're able to be trained on what an infinite game is, and they can just say, and they've got a culture, they've got different tools they can use, and they're in a space with someone, and they say it's outside of the work zone, and they say, hey, can we use this tool to communicate? And they can start playing the infinite game and just see it as a game, versus they'll have the tools to invite the person into that space if things start getting weird.
Can we have Brett maybe do a session on that at some stage, Josh, so we really know what that's about and how it works, and ideally we get a chance to experience it as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. The Infinite Game platform, that's not okay. So I don't know what Brett has, but the Infinite Game is actually a document that's predecesses that was created. I think Kars originally has a document that we have. We can add that into our. It's really long, but you get the gist of it in the first few pages of what the Infinite Game is. It's a concept, and it can be created in many different ways. So yes, of course we can get Brett in there.
Okay. Because my feeling is, if we're going to recommend that to people, or if it's going to be a part of the curriculum, so to speak, then if it's a really long document, then really long documents tend to put people off. And the next thing I would do to that would be to say, okay, can we get someone to maybe chop that right down, so we've got the absolute basics of the Infinite Game, so anyone can get the gist of it in ideally, sort of 5 minutes. And if any longer is needed on that, it's more like just exploring, different aspects of it, kind of thing. So you can get the gist straight away. And because I think, part of the issue is, are we trying to keep this open to absolutely everybody? In which case we need to try and get a level playing field and pull everyone up onto the same level. Or are we relying on the law of attraction, say, that people will only step in when they're absolutely ready for it? So you've got two totally different ways of looking at it, if you like. And my concern is that I know people who are dyslexic on the one hand, who are intellectually brilliant, and I know other people who are really put off by paperwork and reading and stuff like that, who are not necessarily dyslexic, but they've just got an aversion to it, if you like.
No, 100%. Yeah, I wrote it in there. Shortened explanation context. It's totally needed.
Okay, great.
Totally. Yeah, that just to give them an explanation, but the actual learning, it's actually hands-on. It's got to be a retreat center environment. Like we can't even do the Infinite Game to be honest with you, we can't do that on the phone. We can.
I have a question for you.
Some of it, but it's not the same. Yes, Steve.
Do you have the co-creation tools and the Infinite Game platform documents on the Google Drive?
We need to make a Infinite Game shortened version, like he said. That's our next steps, and we already do have the co-creation tools. That's under the space agreements right now.
Okay.
It's basically, that's where it falls. We have to, it's basically where it falls. I mean, it's got a little bit more than just a space agreements in it. It's a full document, but I don't know if we need to chop it down for now. It's good enough as is. I'm not as familiar with it. So I guess you would know that, Mike, if we, in the future, if we need to chop it down to just fit the space agreements or what. Or if it's
the conscious co-creation tools, Josh.
Yeah.
It could be separated into its parts, but I think because it's like a three-legged stool, if you like, minimum. It has to go together, really. So it's like already you can't get away without having the intention, the structure, and the process, for example. So
Okay.
But I can do I've got a video which really goes through the whole thing. I've got the document, which is the whole document. And the other thing I could do is a 5-minute intro or an 8-minute intro or something like that, if necessary, as a sort of bang, here's your stepping off point. Here's what we're doing and here's why we're doing it this way. More information is available from here.
Cool. Okay. This last one, okay, great. That sounds good. As a training module, I know for a fact it's 100% complete. So yeah, so we're clear. Onboarding as a last one, I'm going to put that because that's not really interpersonal. After they know how to co-create, after they're healed, after they've kind of found their purpose and organized their life, their personal life, and they've also been onboarded to all the processes that we're doing, then they get, as the very last things, they get shared access to everything. This is in the future. For now, we're creating this shared access without the interpersonal. We've already allowed people to come through to level 2. They'll jump on a master plan and start forming teams. But before they form a team, remember, we're forming our culture code. We're getting trained on whatever we decide we want to be trained on. So we get to decide that as a team. Are we going to require each other to have some kind of a healing tools available to us or not? And that's just a case-by-case basis. Okay? So we're still good. We're still in order to keep going forward to jump on master plans and to develop the courses as we go. To let you guys know, in bigger news, we're looking for, just as a quick one, we're looking for a structure, and we're signing documents with the Brazil project, which is on the master plans in the real estate level 2. And I'll be going down there soon. I mean, it's so perfect. He's been saving this 30 years he's got room for a full city there, which we can do. He's got the land. We got an airfield next to it, and he's ready. We've aligned 100% on everything. So now we're gonna. Right now it's just gonna be me and him in the thing, but we're on. It's set up like this. So we'll onboard teams, and just everyone will be decentralized. There's no ownership or anything. So just to let you know, this activation center that'll be running this process is, for sure, one of them is definitely being built, if not more of them. I mean, we can implement the course anywhere. Courses. And Green Earth Vision is designed for that we lost one or two people at once. Green Earth Vision is designed for events, so that for these specific events. So we get to create those decentralized with any retreat center, and find the right people to bring in and just start doing retreats. Tools for co-creation. Okay, is there anything once it sounded? So let me just check if Mike's still with us. Oh, you're still with us, Mike.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
See who else is here real quick. Tiana. Okay, Tiana's still here. Okay. All right. So why did I think that? I guess Steve just turned his video. I have a weird setting. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here, Josh. I just needed to turn it down. I've got a couple kids in here making noise, so don't worry about that.
All right. Is there anything else interpersonal that would come after they've learned to co-create? In my mind, they're ready to get on a team and work. Like inside of themselves, like they've healed, they're oriented, and they know how to co-create. Like, to me, that makes them worthy of being on a team. And they have access to whatever information they want, education. Can anyone think of anything else? Jedi training. Okay, we can always come back. Remember, if you have an idea, you just put a comment in here and say, hey, what about this? And then we all talk about it on a call. Okay? Those processes obviously need to get clarified too, like exactly how we modify because once we're through with the original document, We can add to it, but we want to make sure I don't know. We got to figure that out. That's part of the access agreement team's job to figure that out. Onboarding to declaration. So this is onboarding to all the structural stuff. I mean, I put declaration, but it's more than that. Declaration, I can just say and beyond, or I'll say and beyond. I'm just going to say and New Frontier. Okay. 1, call structure. So the first thing we need to do right now is get our call structure down so that all our calls are done right, smooth, and they don't flop. So we have the email prep, so where people are knowing what they're signing up to on the calls. I'm actually going to put, even before that is organized call, a place to put, like, here's this call happening. We need a place to put them. Does anyone know? I mean, we're just going to keep using Google Docs, so everything's in one place at this point. Just have a document that people go to and they look at what calls are happening. And they are access-based. So right now, if you're on a team, that call will be, actually, I do have that set up, actually. And I'm going to show it to you. I'll just show it to you really quick because I feel like it's something you guys should know that is there already, sort of. We created this with Culture of Collaboration about 8 months ago. And it's in the community folder. So in the specific, so we have next calls. This is the general next calls. We're gonna make what, we can copy this and we can copy the template and put it into, tells you what are the points of the call, you know, just different things. What do you need for the call? If everything goes perfect, what are the results be? What are the time? So we're gonna have a little format up top in bold, and then we'll have a suggested way of using the document, like put it up top if it's more recent. So people can see the first one's coming up first, or something like that, whatever's the right order. So we're gonna copy this document and put it in level 1. These are for general calls that are open to everyone, okay? Now, if you're in a specific project, like we're gonna sign up today on for us on projects. If you're in a specific project, you'll actually go into your project, if it's fundraising, maybe you're on philanthropist call, I don't know. And then call out, sorry, not call. And then it would tell you that we would have a next calls in there for that group. And this is only accessed, remember, it's only gonna be accessed by the people on the team. But people can sign up on this team through the master plan section. So everyone can look at any master plans that are available for anyone to sign up on. Right now, anyone can sign up to be a part of the Brazil project. And I'm gonna do the whole master plan for Full Potential in, I'll just put it's gonna have sub-master groups. These are all part of Full Potential. So I'm gonna put those other groups in here. And I'm gonna put, they're basically sub-master plans. This is its own master plan. Okay, I'll put a master plan, a folder that says Full Potential. What's co-created future? Because that's the document we're working off of right now, co-created future. So within this, I'll put sub-master plans. It'll say like governance, and then the other ones. Finances, I know, is one. So that we know that this is specifically tied into what we're creating. So if you want to continue with what we're creating, it will be in that master plan document specifically. the full potential co-created future. This is property plans. They may or may not be structured in a way that we can, they may be structured different. Resource campaign is structured different, but we can mix it in, but I don't know how to do that yet. Tech platforms, they may or may not be structured the same because they have different ownership that's already going on, and I don't know where the funding's coming from yet and who they are, or how that looks yet. Okay. Sorry for the derailment. I wanted to train you guys a little bit on.
Josh, can I make a suggestion on that?
Yeah.
Because that's too much to remember, really. What I think we need is something like a mind map, which has the different sections for things, and then the documents in each section, and also maybe a little description that says this is what this document deals with. Otherwise, my concern is that that's just too difficult to try and remember.
Got it. So I have this mind map, and I have an onboarding, that call that's posted in level 1 that's supposed to walk you through all the documents, the walkthrough. But we're redoing things. So as soon as we get them redone, we'll redo the video and we'll redo the mind map because it is a little different. So onboarding, you got intro to the project, you get on a call. This is where the README first document, this is level 2, by the way. This is the level 2 documents that we're talking about. You read it, the first README first, which you guys probably haven't read yet. Then you jump on a call, and then you work out of your projects folder. So the README first orients everyone automatically, and then you jump on a call just to answer any questions, and then you can work on a team like you've been oriented. Okay? So that level 1 is the README first. It's right here in the very beginning. So when you click on the README 1 first, it walks you through it. Go to your project you're a part of here, and when you go to it, I think it works. It might not. I might have to fix these. No, it works. I fixed all the links when I did this last week. So you got the projects section right there. Okay, and it'll tell you where they're at. Cool.
Good stuff.
All right. So that will be coherent when you get to the first page. And that video should have explained it to everyone. I did put that in the first step, in the requirements to get to level 2. So they should be able to look at that and go, oh, that's how I navigate level 2. At least it'll give you a good enough idea, even if things have changed a little bit. They're pretty cohesive still. Okay, so co-created future. Call structure, organized call. Okay, so this is onboarding to not only our system, but anything else. Like this is like, actually, you know what? The last step is getting them access to a project. And from there, we don't have any more, like the project itself is gonna take it from there. So I'm gonna take New Frontier out, because really this process covers that. So this is onboarding to the declaration, actually. Because once they are on an access platform, a team, a master plan, that's all this platform has for them. From there, it's hopefully we can, with our group roles, we can interconnect the groups correctly and maintain a living organism that's coherent. So the factual training, like the actual training that people are going to need, is call structure, organized section for calls, which is already done. This is next step. So we already have that. Organized call section training. So we have the call section set up, but we want the training. Then we, the call email send out. That doesn't sound right now. Hold on. Organized section training. That doesn't even sound right. Training. how can I say that? Training for where to post future calls. Next one, how to send out email. How to run calls equals emails 1. Send email out. Send email out before call to prep. And prep. Maybe there's other prep. So we're providing context. The next thing, after we do that, we've sent them an email so they know what they're getting on the calls for. We're going to educate them on the call facilitation and the roles, how that works, to different options to facilitate. They get to choose their roles for their calls, how the call structure looks. We already have those documents for people to look at. Anything else on the calls before we go on that they might want to know? I think that's it, to be honest with you. Okay, 2, orientation process. So after they know how to do calls, what do we need people to know next? Orientation is what we have down right now, unless anyone can think of anything more urgent. And we can give it a second to process and reflect also. The orientation process that defines how we work together, what our intention is in each new modular scenario. So the orientation process, it says how we work together. So it's just basically we need an orientation process. We need to get people through, starting with level 1, right? Process starting with level 1. Then level 2. Because we still have people, we need to, a lot of the level 2 people are going to now need to have a group to help level 1 be super smooth. And then we can start building out level 2. That defines how we work together, what our intention is in each new scenario, how to use everything, really. How to use the Google Docs, which is what we just talked about. So this will be video, mind map, and onboarding call, and an orientation call. What do they call that? I think it's orientation. Yeah, it's the orientation process. By the way, my human design, I'm like a super fragment 1% of like how I make decisions. In the reflector category, it's called no authority. And I make decisions by hearing myself talk. So, anyhow, thank you guys. Orientation process, start with level 1, level 2, that defines how we work together. Can anybody think of anything else that's gonna help? I mean, how to use the Google Docs? What else are people gonna want to know besides how to do calls, how to use Google Docs, how to work together? What our intentions is for each scenario that we're getting into. Maybe team forming. In our master plan, I think that's going to be covered, and I'm going to show you once again. So show you what we have so far, and you guys can tell me if you think it's good enough or not. In level 2, when you actually get to the map, because we're not working together until we choose a master plan. So when you get to the master plans, I just revamped this, and I'm going to come up with the outline so people can make their own master plans, submit them, and all that stuff. And when it comes to the one I made so far for the Brazil property that people can jump on, I actually redid the outline so that when you go through it, you're actually going through not only are you signing up to a master plan, you go, oh, cool, I understand how everything works. But when you onboard someone, they actually can go through step by step and do one step at a time as a team. So everyone can talk about alignment together, make sure that's all settled. Then they can go through the value process together. They can go through the agreement fields, which means right here, they basically, it says to them on the master plan, these are the agreement fields: universal, space, and organization. Anyone should have already gone through the universal. If not, here's the invite. And you need to, I mean, they should have. They won't have access to this if they don't. So basically, what is it? Let me see what that is. To gauge alignment. Okay, the invite, yeah. Whatever. So they shouldn't even really be there, but I don't want to redo the whole thing. So we don't need the whole declaration here. It just says that's the next step. And then the pool. After that, they're in a pool. Once the member's gone through the agreement process, they're in a pool. So for this master plan, this is how we adopt people. Group formation, it tells you exactly how we adopt people into this master plan. Once they're in the pool, there's a process for them being adopted. And then group formation, oh, that's what we're on, sorry. And then they get to make their culture code together and all that. Master planning, they get to the sub-master plan, they're gonna create their sub-master plan in that case, how groups interact with each other, etc.
Josh, sorry to butt in, there's a message from Tiana.
Yep.
She's not able to take herself off mute or raise her hand, so maybe you can unmute her.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I just have a question, Josh, about what is actually your definition of a master plan? And because I'm hearing that people need to sign up for a master plan, and I'm having some difficulty understanding what the concept of that is.
Yeah.
Do they only get to sign up for one master plan, or I thought each team has a master plan, so maybe I'm confused of being on a team and being on a master plan. I don't.
Sure. Right now, I have it where I'm saying that people can. I'm suggesting people can sign up to 3, up to 3. To begin
Master
with.
plans?
Yeah, 3 groups. They're only going to be in a group on a master plan. They're only going to be in a group. They're not going to be doing the whole thing themselves. They're going to be on a team.
I think, Josh, I think what Tiana's getting at is that the phrase master plan would sort of allude to one overarching plan for everything. And if there isn't one overarching plan for everything, then that's likely to be confusing for people. So it might be better sort of stated as a sub-plan or special plan or something else, which really gives you a clearer impression of what it's about. Otherwise, there's a real risk that if the language is coming through like that, it's actually giving the wrong impression to people. And especially when things are in the written format, then you really need to have something that either gives them a link to a document or to a definition, or is absolutely self-explanatory as to what it is. And I think we're sort of creeping into jargon a little bit, and the jargon is not really that clear. Okay, so let's co-create this, because where I see this is from a totally different standpoint, because we're creating a format where we're moving beyond old paradigm business structures, and we're creating a brand new one. So we have to look at everything totally different now. So we created the co-created future full potential master plan, right? All that has in it is sub-master plans right now. Okay?
there's no master plans underneath it. That is the master plan. Now there's another master plan called Brazil, because the guy came through the agreement field, the guy that I'm working with, Nevadano. He came through the agreement field, went through the organizational structure. I made a master plan for him. He looked through the master plan. He agreed on it, sent back questions. We talked over days, and we're on the same page 100%. And we're talking about legal structure and how to launch this thing. Now, okay, so that cannot, it's a specific project. The master plan that we created is on a world level. There's 3 levels. There's there's the personal level. I mean, you can have your own master plan for your life that no one else is included in. That's fine, but we're not dealing with that here. We're dealing with group master plans. So there's 2 levels that we're dealing with. A world level and a community level. Now, a community level means only a certain amount of people can show up at a time. It's not for everyone. So if I raise funds for a world charity that's going to help everyone in the world, but I buy a little community and I have only 10 people can show up there, and I said, I'm helping the world by 10 of us having a place to live and co-create through. That's not a world project. I'm doing a disservice, and it's actually kind of a scam, sort of. So we have a world level master plan, the one we're creating right now. Other people may not see it the same, and they may create a world level master plan that's different, but I don't know how that would look. If they're coming through our field, I think that we want to adopt them we want to add that as an arm into the world master plan as a sub-master plan instead of a master plan. That's our intention. That's our hope for this co-created future.
Okay.
Okay. Got it?
So then, I think I got it. So my questioning was for you because on the grant services and the events, the Global Solutionary Fundraiser events, those are to be master planned in the, those are to be sub-master planned in the overall overarching master plan. Does that make sense?
I'm sorry, say it one more time. Sorry, Tiana.
So the synergistic funding wheel that I'm channeling in the blueprints for, and I've been writing out master plans.
Yes.
That are to be co-created. Just because I'm writing them out doesn't mean that they are actually the plan. They're to be co-created.
Yes.
With the overarching master plan and with all of the co-creators that are going to be involved with that.
Totally.
So I'm confused. So I've been calling it a master plan for those specific legs or arms, mm-hmm. those funding arms or whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and the reason we haven't really figured that out yet is because when I first helped you create the master plan in Costa Rica, we were still doing it outside of the agreement field. So you could actually, as soon as we could act, it would be a sub-master plan if it's a part of this one, the co-created future. If it's outside of it, then it's outside of it. If it's inside of it, that means that it's sharing the same funding model, sharing the same, because I haven't created the master plan for this yet. That basically
created the master plan for what? See, this is why I'm getting confused because I thought there's only one.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
This is the full potential master plan.
We're creating it together right now.
Yes, but you have other master plans. So and then you're saying you're going to create another master plan. So
Okay.
I'm confused as to why you're creating master plans, and I'm not able to create a master plan.
Okay, hold on. So the organizational structure that we looked at on Full Potential Alliance is a general alignment set of videos to go, oh, I'm generally in alignment with that. I can proceed to level 2 and have access to everything and look at everything because I'm generally in alignment with that. So master plans can, basically that's the organizational structure that anything inside of level 2 is adopting, period. Okay. There is a little variance on that. There is a little bit of variance on that. For instance, how funding works. And so it's very interesting where you're at, Tiana, because you're doing funding. So there's a little bit of a piece, there's team building and funding. I need to make sure that we're doing the team building process correct with the funding arm, with the submaster plan team that you're forming, and that the process is being done correctly. And then you'll be just, and then, so it just needs a little bit of slowdown. That's all. And I know you want to move really fast, but it just needs, we need to all be on the same page of what we're doing before we start moving.
It's not that I want to be moving fast. It's that I'm channeling in the information and being spirit directed with my movements with it. So when I'm at a certain space with it and I'm ready to move forward with the team and trying to synergize or co-create as to where it fits in with the models that you're co-creating here, is where I'm not getting the connection.
Got it.
So I'm trying to figure out where these pieces fit in here so that I can continue to move forward with how I'm being directed to move forward. Otherwise I can't, which is fine. Okay. But I'm just looking for clear answers. If I've expressed to you that I've been creating the master plan for the one for the grant services, but that keeps getting bigger. So I'm wanting people to collaborate and co-create with it, but I'm not sure how to label it. So I just wanted to get an understanding about the differences in the master plan right now.
Okay, I think I have two answers to your questions. One is we can either do it on this call or we can do it separately. I think we should do it separately, is co-create the next steps for you. And then we can show that process, because now we're getting into creating a process on the call, which is we want to give a proposal on the call and make sure that everyone's in alignment with that proposal. But the second answer I have for you is an actual answer. And that is, so I want to offer to co-create the next steps with you. And we can do it at the end of this call if we have time and we want to. And the second answer I have to you is a master plan includes the organizational structure, like I was showing you, and the what you're doing. So what I've seen from the master plan that we created, we were just creating one for kind of like marketing, and it wasn't clear to me. We weren't really doing it under this NEOS at the time.
Okay, we were creating together the master plan for Global Solutionary Fundraisers.
Yes. This
is the other master plan for Utopian New Earth Grant Services. So that you probably are going to, it's probably why you don't understand, because you haven't looked at it yet. But what I'm trying to get answered from you is what your definition of a master plan is.
It's got the organizational, the quick answers. It's got the organizational structure, and I want to train you, everybody that's writing one, with their first one.
But I don't think that I think that I maybe need to train you on what the master plan looks like, because I'm channeling it in, and I'm using all of the elements.
Okay, can we do that off the call so we respect people's time?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just still trying to get a clear definition of the master plan.
Okay. So I will schedule a call with you, Tiana, as soon as I can I'll squeeze time in for you either after this call or tomorrow. Probably not after this call because I got to be somewhere at 3. Cool.
So, yeah. So can I just clarify to make sure I have the question answered?
Sure.
So there's only one master plan. Is that correct?
There's only one world level master plan that we're co-creating. Otherwise, it's going to be
Okay.
Yeah.
And where is that? And is that this that we're working on right now?
Yes, we're building it.
Okay. Perfect. So there should be no other master plans.
Not for the world level. No, everything's going to go within it in some way or another. Yeah.
Perfect. That answered my questions. Thank you.
Okay, cool. You're welcome. All right. Okay, so let's get to the very end of this. So I think we can finish this. At least we'll finish this and we won't have to have another giant group call because this is an open invite for everybody that's on the team to co-create the World Master Plan. So anyone that shows up gets to co-create it. So I want to finish it at least now so we don't have to have another call for it. And then we're pretty much at the very end here. So onboarding to the declaration is call structure, orientation process, and then once they have that, they get shared access platforms, project and master plan access. So access and onboarding, ability to invite people in, etc. Okay, does anybody have anything to add to the actual process that we need? The next steps that we need to do: get our call structures going, get our orientation process. This is training, part of training people. Our orientation process, how we work, what our intention is with each scenario, how to use the Google Docs, and then access agreements. Access agreement forming. We need to have that done. That's a team that we're building right now. And we need our access agreements. We need to do shared space. We need to get the space agreements complete. We need to get level 2 full. Okay. We need to get the co-created future into world master plan. I changed it to world, and I'll put the other one as something else. Master plan folder. All right. And then, so once we have we have all that organized correctly, it needs to come after call structure. I'll probably end up doing it before the call structure because I know how to do it and it's something I can do. I'll be doing it on my own anyway. But it doesn't need to happen until after the call structure. The call structure is more important right now. Co-created future into the master plan folder. Let's just say all level 2 scalable. And then we give shared access platforms, ability to invite people that we're up and going. Can anybody see anything else that we would need?
Feedback. Josh, I would build in feedback to everything that you do. It gives you a real good calibration point. Josh, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to have to head off now. I've got a commitment that I need to go to now, and I'm probably already running a bit late. So apologies, everyone.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to go through one more question, and then we'll be done. Mike, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Mike. Take care.
Develop a feedback loop system. Call structure, the processes is covered in interpersonal. In fact, structure is more, this is more structure and this is more process. So you see call process, courses, those are all process. This is structure, you see structure right away. There's orientation process in here, but that's okay. So does anyone see anything else before we move on? Okay, and you're welcome to chime in back if you need to. What could get in the way of all this education, training? What could possibly get in the way? Confusion, like somehow people access agreements not being done correctly. They're confused because they jumping to a level before they got trained, before they had access. Access level, access agreements not clear, not coherent. What else could get in the way?
I feel what could get in the way is if it's too complex and it becomes too time consuming and that it just becomes a turnoff to people. Or they may already be spiritually or in alignment with it, so they don't want to go be inundated with a bunch of information.
Yes.
I don't know. So I guess the solution would be to make it as simple and brief as possible in all things.
Perfect. I fully agree with that. And the experience to be good. Can we add to it, since we're doing this, what we would like the experience to be like? Let's just do it like this. So, desired experience. You said desired experience. So instead of what we didn't want, like I would say you have it inviting. So it's very inviting. So you say, hey, I really want you on the team. It's step by step.
Step by step, but also simplified.
Simple step by step. So it's inviting, it's simple step by step. It's slow enough to take time for people. You're allowed to ask questions. You're allowed to give feedback. So feedback loops, you're heard. You are heard. You can input during process. You have a choice at all times.
I might want to just throw this in just to give you some feedback of little tidbits of what I hear. They want to know who the people are involved are prior to coming through the portals. They also, I've also gotten feedback on fear around coming through a portal and losing their sovereignty.
Really?
And I've tried. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's not weird. I understand it because people. I think there needs to be, from what I gather, there needs to be some healing or some conversations around what it means to work in unity and still remain sovereign. Because a lot of people are still fighting for their sovereignty out there, but they're wanting to also work in unified fields. And that comes up in the field, in the interactions and the interpersonal interactions.
Sure.
It would be helpful if we could take a look at.
I have a quick answer for you.
Okay.
Everyone's allowed to do any project they want outside of the agreement field, but when you're in an agreement field, you go with the agreements that you agreed on, or else you're dishonoring everyone else that's involved that is on that similar understanding as you. And that's just apathetic laziness and just.
Yeah, no, I get that, but that's what I'm seeing could get in the way, because people are still learning to be able to do that. Is we're on what could get in the way, and it's people learning still how to even be in their sovereignty, but also to how to be in a unified field, co-creating. And them, it's more about them integrating that, what that looks like for them personally. Maybe different for each person individually. I'm not sure. I'm still kind of going through my own process with it.
So,
Josh, one way it could be explained, to make it really simple, is when you're inside your house, you have certain rules. When you walk out the door, there's an additional set of rules that play out. And then when you go into, say, a government building, you have different rules to follow. And those rules that you don't like, you just stay out of that building. It's just a real simple way to look at it. It's, if you want to enter a park, there's going to be different rules with that park.
yeah.
You follow the rules or you don't. You go out of the park. But that's probably, just make it really simple for people to understand when they're coming in, is that, when we're working together, we operate on a set of rules. That's all. And, outside of that, you have your own set of rules that you set up for whatever other projects you're doing. So.
Yeah, and that's the first instance I've ever heard where I actually like the word rule versus agreement, but agreement is what it really is.
Same thing, right?
But it explains it. It explains it in a good way that people understand. Okay, the rules of this place is, this company is this, because people understand that. But there's the sovereignty thing. Well, what about me getting, well, that's where it really is an agreement. It's like, it's not a rule, it's an agreement. And then just feeling safe, Tiana, for them to feel safe is really, there is a trust level involved. And this is going to be the job of who invites them in, of us having a really good training process that, so what could get in the way is, it's called Each One Teach One, because we don't want a stranger walking someone through someone else's process, because they can watch a training video of a stranger, that's fine, but hopefully those training videos will be effective. Like, if anything that I do is not effective, like, let's make a new one, or let's put an actor in there. I made those only because I had to. So what could get in the way is Each One Teach One. That process, not having incoming members aligned with the person training them, or vice versa. So I don't want to train someone that's not in line with me. That's natural law. And if someone doesn't,
me either. I agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just relaying the questions they're asking, that the feedback I'm getting when I'm trying to explain what we're doing here.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So people need to feel safe. I'm putting this in here. People need to feel safe. They're not going to get reprimanded. We are going to be very easy in the beginning as we experiment and experiment with agreements and accountability. Now, this is why sometimes we have to do one agreement at a time so that we understand them. You know, right now, all we have is the universal agreements that we've agreed to. That's it. And those are simple, super simple. And really most of them they're for the future. Most of them aren't now. When we develop our culture code, we'll be agreeing to those, but we're only going to have like 3 things to happen on a call. It's going to be very clear. We'll put those in the call every time so we know what we're getting into. We know we remember what we agreed to. So I think this process is going to be coherent. So I don't need to put that as what could get in the way, because I know that it will be coherent in that way. People confused on sovereignty, understanding what an agreement field is, training so that they know when they agree to something that it needs to be understood before agreement and implemented as a team. Does that sound clear? Okay, what else could get in the way? You said too much information. I like that. I love that. Too complex, too time consuming. I'm going to put TMI here. Can't have, and this is what scared me about that the thing that we created today that we said, access to I think it was here, set up a shared platform for education with badges and all. It's a lot. It's suggested, but it can pull people off course and overwhelm them. I almost want to leave other people's education out of it because it comes from a different paradigm, a different context, a different everything. I almost want to create everything we do. I want to take other people's things, make a summary of it, so we're not all reading the whole book every time. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the way we need to do it. You know?
So I think that should be a level 2 thing, and it should be a suggested shared education platform just so that we can all understand different things, but it shouldn't be, and it's not level 1. This is I'm going to change it to level 2. I don't think it's immediate. I don't think it's a next step. Do you? I'm going to I'm not going to take it off because Mike's not here and he created that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on a separate thing.
Can I say a side note on that?
Sure.
I may have access to a university platform that would be shared, gifted to us for free.
Okay. Cool.
It has licenses and everything already paid for.
Oh, I think you were the one. I was thinking about that earlier. I think it was you that was telling me about that. It might have been someone else, but I think you were telling me about that. Did you tell me about that before? Jana?
Did you take it in? Yes. Are you ready? Oh, you betcha. You know what to do.
Where are you at? This is some kind of a, anyhow. All right, what could get in the way? Access agreements. I'm going to go over them one more time, and then we're done. Access agreements not clear. It's too complex, time consuming. We want it to be inviting, simple, step by step. You're heard. You can input. You have a choice at all times. You're safe. You have access to understanding who the people in the field are. I don't think that's that important, to be honest with you, Tiana, because if you don't choose to be on a core team with someone, who cares if they live in the same city as you? We're talking about green cities here. If we're all in the same agreement, universal intention heading towards the same universal thing, you don't have to, after this point, this is the last call where we're just randomly combined, but after this call, you don't have to interact with anyone or be on any calls with anyone from here on out. So I don't think that's a concern.
I'm not sure. I'm just giving you the feedback that I'm getting from people. I don't necessarily have that in me about that. I just am getting that feedback that they ask me those questions. Well, who's co-creating this? Who is this under? They want to know the people involved.
Sure.
And I think it's a fair question. I mean, there's been, a lot of people have had different experiences with working with different people, and maybe they want to know who it is they're aligning with. I don't know. I can't answer that fully, but I'm just, if you want to take it out, it's fine. I just wanted to give you the feedback.
Sure.
Yeah, I think probably what you're running into is you're running into the fact that people are so accustomed to the old paradigm that they're putting everything in the framework of the old paradigm. So, where everything gets forced in, and if you join something, you're stuck with it, and this whole concept's is gonna be a completely new concept to people. So
shame and blame.
There's probably gonna have to be a gradual bring this in so people understand, and it's probably the best way of bringing it in is just like imagine a world where everything was exactly the way you want it. And I think from there, people can start going, oh, okay. And then, then they can understand the concept of agreements, So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. I want to refer something to you guys really quick also on that level. Just so you know what we have already. And these mostly that I've seen, I could go through the universal again. We could all go through them again and look for stuff that helps people coming in the field understand better. And we can even put one on the board because we have 6 months. It's been a couple months anyway. In a couple months, we could actually have a revamp and add agreements to the universals that when people come in, they see those and they go, oh, that answers my question. Okay, but for now, I just want to show you what we have here already. If I agree, I feel off balance, honor myself, take a moment to recenter. I agree to speak in a way that's supportive of others, especially when about others, whether they agree or not, whether they're physically present, and when I'm speaking to, or whether I'm speaking to them directly. Is it helpful? Is it relevant? Is it kind? I agree to honor myself by asking questions to seek understanding instead of getting upset or making assumptions or judgments. So they're totally in their right to ask those questions and find out. And I don't think that's something that would get in our way because, like you said, Steve, it's coming from an old paradigm viewpoint. But everyone is designed to do a 1-minute video intro. It's up to that person if they want that to be public. If someone hasn't agreed to the agreement field and they're not in it, they don't get access to necessarily. Let me think about this. If they're not first of all, they say, yes, I'm in alignment. And I have a question about who's on the team. Because if they're not in alignment, there's no reason in answering that question. They're not in the field. They're in a different field. But if they say, wow, I'm in alignment. This looks really good. I want to be on the team, but I want to know who's on it. I don't think they're asking.
I guess there's a difference between the field, the teams, maybe the teams. I'm only introducing people to the Declaration of Agreements right now. They are asking, I've gotten it actually a number of times, who's creating this, who is it? So maybe I don't know how to answer it. It's maybe if there's an effective answer that, in case the questions come up again,
Yeah.
because I tell them it's a co-creation between multiple different people, and it's under the umbrella of Full Potential Alliance, but still it is specific people that are doing that. And
Yeah.
it's just, they may not even be concerned. It may just be their question.
Yeah. I don't have an answer for you right now. That guy that I was referred to on my post, I think his name is Goji or something. He's like the spiritual teacher. He just rips people apart. I mean, no, he doesn't rip them apart. He's like awesome and amazing, but everyone comes to him as like for advice. But that big question, who are you? Are you consciousness? So saying who's on the call is kind of just an interesting question, because who is it? You want to give them a name? So right here, 7E says, if we lose respect for something, they do something we consider immoral. That means someone or something, right? Should say someone or something. They do something we consider immoral. It's our job to bring that to the world of agreement or accept it. In other words, if we have a judgment on something that wasn't in the agreement field, everything they're coming from, any judgment they have from someone from the past, old paradigm is holding on to something from the past and saying, I'm never going to work with you ever again, because a long time ago you did something that I didn't like, even though there was no agreement around it, or they were unclear agreements. Now we're coming into agreement fields where everything's going to be super clear, or we created an agreement to solve that problem that we're having. So if someone does something we consider immoral, it's our job now, from here on out, to bring it to the world of agreement or accept it. If they're in line with this, then that means, in other words, we have a judgment that wasn't in the agreement field. It's our job to form an agreement around it or accept it. What they could do is they could inventory everything they consider immoral and create an agreement field that protects them in the future from whatever happened to them that hurt them. That way they know that it doesn't matter who's on the team, because in the agreement field, everyone's under these agreements, and that person will never hurt them again, or they get kicked out of the whole agreement field and all the connections and all the currency and all the stuff. Cool.
Yeah, I get that. I completely get that. I think it's something that I don't really know how to relay that to people at this juncture.
Okay. I mean, you can explain it to them if you want, or you can just say, I'm the only one you need to worry about. I'm going to train you through it. Right now, most people are on level 2. The only call they're going to get from this point on is either an onboarding call that'll be I don't know who, that you can tell them if they're cool with me leading it or you leading it, because one of us is going to lead it. I doubt someone else is at this point. Or the only other person they're going to interact with is when they form a team. So that's it. The onboarding call or a culture code call, which is an experimental fun call to learn we're all experimenting. There's no leader. Cool?
Yeah, it's good with me.
Yeah, and then they don't have to interact with anyone else through the whole process or anything, if they don't want to. Cool. All right. So let's see. Universal. I think we're done. Unless anyone has anything else, I'm complete. And let's just take a second to look at this one more time and see if there's anything else that you can think of. And yeah, you guys have access to it. You can actually write in there. It's not like it has to be. This is what
I'm not seeing the screen share anymore.
I'm sorry, kind of what?
I'm not seeing the screen share anymore.
Oh, I thought I activated it. No, I didn't. Sorry. Okay. So as a last look, what could get in the way? Access agreement's not clear. It's too complex. Streamlined process and a good experience. So it has a good experience, a good process, has good access agreements, so no one's going into, it's not confusing, basically, is what those two things handle. It's not confusing, it feels good. People confused on sovereignty, so they know what the agreement field is. They're understanding a little bit more of the context in that way. They feel safe, so they know they're not going to get reprimanded. Once again, it's a little bit of context up front saying, look, you're not going to get reprimanded. It's an experiment. We're going through this. Each one, I would say they're not going to get reprimanded, and they don't have to work with anyone they don't want to. That covers. Okay, and then what else could get in the way? Each one, teach one. That process, not having income or members align with the person training them or vice versa. So we want to have alignment with the person training and the person being trained. We got to have double agreement, natural law. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Anything else that could get in the way of our training program failing? I would say other people coming in the field, these especially the people to watch out for are gurus, retreat leaders, coming in the field and going, I got this process, I want to shove it in here. And us going, whoa, that's a whole process. So we need to make sure that they understand any new processes coming in. That's Mike Upstone calls them canned solutions. No canned solutions. So I'm going to say no canned solutions policy. That's why we're co-creating all this, right? So none of this, I've already figured it out stuff. I mean, I created a lot of this stuff years ago, and we're doing it together though, this time. So it's different. Everyone's going to be on the same page, and most of this stuff was co-created. Someone came up with a different piece of all this. It's all co-created. So no canned solution policy. Anybody think of anything else? Take a moment to think.
It all looks pretty good to me. I just wanted to add that we don't want to get too complicated, so keep this simple. And you don't mention compassion specifically as a word, and we're going to be very easy in the beginning, but I just wanted to add that. It sounds like as long as people coming in and challenges unforeseen arise, just being compassionate is going to be pretty crucial. So, but it's basically written out here in so many different ways. So I just wanted to throw that in the mix. You're muted, Josh.
Okay, I just upgraded Steve to the host. I have to go. You're welcome to fill it in on your own. But I have to go right now, so I'll see you guys later. All right, thanks,
Okay.
guys. Okay, we'll talk to you soon. I'll inform you guys maybe with a little quick video before this next week's, like soon. I'll make a video of where we're at so everyone can kind of understand and be clear, because we're in a little bit of a transition. We're not going to have a normal call next week. It's going to be ran either by Tiana or Mike Upstone for the level 1 people and for everyone. And that's going to be on like basically call process.
Are we going to have our next call next Wednesday like we usually do, or are we going to?
Yeah, but it will be on call process. It'll either be Tiana or Mike Upstone running it.
Okay.
And then I'll figure out, I got to figure some stuff out, but we'll have other calls.
All right, we'll be in touch.
Okay,
We will.
Bye.
Bye, Josh.
Bye-bye.
I have to get going too.